when we go into this study, get there. Because he made a reference, whereof the Lord spake in that day. For thou hadst in that day how the Anakim. There was already, he was saying, God, give me this mountain. Because there's a story behind that mountain. Everything about your life, I care about the story. What I care about is what God had spoken. Many of us, we dwell on current affairs. We dwell on news for something that God has spoken. In this particular place, who spoke here? Because the Bible says, we have a source who spoke here. Okay? So from the voice, I am satisfied. It was actually Caleb. Before this particular time, something had happened. There had been a situation. And what was the situation? I wouldn't want to bother you with too much grammar. But there's what we call reconnaissance. When you want to do survey, if you are given a project, if you're a land surveyor, and they ask you to go and survey somewhere, Ogoja, or some where do they call Ogoni land? They ask you to go and do survey. You got a federal government project, and they ask you to prepare a survey of land. The first thing every surveyor does, he will first of all do what they call reconnaissance. He will go and try to find out an information about the place that he is to do survey. That will give him an impression of what type of equipment he will require. Whether before he can do the survey, he will need to cut trees, he will need to create lines, he will need to fight animals, he will need to go there with guns, or the place is just one plain smooth land. The way you survey on the water is different from the way you survey on the land. So the reconnaissance is going to tell him that before you go all out to survey, prepare some things for yourself so that you are not messed up. And where am I going? Even if you are an evangelist and they ask you to go and preach somewhere, wisdom makes it expedient for you to first of all study. They asked me to go to Makomi. There's a place in Ogun State called Makomi, and to go and preach there now. I need to understand what is Makomi like. Who are the people? What type of language they speak? What type of food do they eat? What is the environment? Where am I likely to stay when I get to Makomi? And I will do what they call reconnaissance. God gave a word to the children of Israel and told them there is a promised land for them. They should leave Egypt. It was a promised land. Fantastic. Good. And when they got to a point, they had a good clarity. But for them to be wise enough, not to just be going blindfolded, they sent in some spies. How many spies were sent? 12. Clap for yourselves. Clap, clap, clap. Correct. Out of these 12 spies, and what are the spies to do? The spies were to do reconnaissance. Okay, this place we are going, who are the people that are there? Are we strong enough to confront them? What is our tactical approach to going to this place? So many people are here tonight. You are a child of God. You went to the university, you study a course. But all you know, you are a one-way personality. If they say, Fela sang a song, call it, Zombie no go except you tell them to go. Then I say, when he got to the point, he said, Joro, Jara, Joro. Zombie go just, turn left, zombie. Turn right, zombie. Go straight, zombie. Anything. But Moses didn't want to do zombie. It is true that Moses had God clearly, and God asked him to go. But he was not going to say, some people are in this church. It's true that God speaks to you. You have heard God. God told you to go somewhere. But you are going in the zombie method. That is the essence of today's study. You are going, you've trained on zombie approach. All that concerns you. I heard God now. I will hear God. Not the first to hear God, you won't be the last. The fact that you heard God, it still requires you applying God's ingenuity. Moses had God. He was on the way to promised land. But when he got a pay, he said, Eduro, take caution. Let's go and look at who our enemy. Let's go. This land, they say we should go. Some people, all they know is they hear God. At the beginning and the end of their life, I hear God. God spoke to me. God speak to you. You are not the first that God will speak. The fact that God spoke to you does not make you to be less responsible to your tactical approach and application of godly wisdom, skill, vision, and commitment and faith to your assignment. So if it is hearing God, everybody hears God one way or the other. And when you hear God, you become zombie. No. Moses said, go and check that place. And the story is so simple that we all know. When they went there, they were just like the Supreme Court judges in Nigeria. In most of the cases that have been given about election, there is always what they call two types of judgments. What are they? We always have two types of judgment. How many of us knew there was a case in Kaduna? What was Kaduna's election case report? How many judges were there in the appeal court of Kaduna? The case they went to in Kaduna governorship election. How many of us followed? Okay. We are too young. How many of us read the story of Awolowo's case versus Chagari? Or you knew anything about that case? Okay. How many of us knows that after the High Court, it's not a single judge that sits in a court? After the High Court, the next court, which court? God bless you. The next case is how many? We have the next court is what? Appeal court. And how many judges sit in appeal court? In appeal court. Okay, we don't have lawyers there, so I won't blame you. In Supreme Court, how many judges sit? We don't have lawyers there. But you tried. In Court of Appeal, 3 lawyers sit. You have 3 judges. We sit. Adajo, better. And in most cases, it's to call one lead judgment, which is the majority judgment. The reason why in all the courts, listen very well, they are all odd numbers. From 1 to which number? To the next number? 5. The 5 is always Supreme Court. 5 always sit either 5 or 7. They use 5, they use 7. But it must be what? Must be what? Do you know the reason? What's the reason? Where is the microphone? Just take it easy, take it easy. We are not rushing.
They use odd numbers because they don't want the judge the judgment from each of the it should be even. They don't want even judgment. Like if it is 4, 2 judges can give judgment for, while 2 will give against. So if that comes to play, there will be chaos. The case will not be judged. But in the case of when you have 3, they know that if 2 is saying yes, it's only one that will be saying no.
Okay, who disagree with him? Yes. No, you don't vote. You don't vote in judgment. You read your judgment. Eh?
When there is, you have
yes.
individual.
Yes.
They can.
Okay. It's correct. Perfectly. Absolutely correct. Can you clap for him? The two of you, he's right. They deliberately did odd numbers so that the judgment will be judgment. Because if it's 2 against 2, what is that one? Is there a judgment? There's no judgment. But they wanted to do. But when Moses was sending spies, he sent 12. Is 12 an odd number or even number? So if 6 had come back and said, we can do it, and 6 have said, we cannot do it, what will happen? It's a question too. They will ask them to go again. One option, correct? Yeah. Oh yeah, options. That's why we are in Bible study.
Say area.
Yes.
And
say we can do it.
We can do it. I think Moses will still go with it that say we can go.
Why?
If 10 say no and 2 say yes, and they still follow 2.
Don't imply it. You are implying. Oh yeah. I don't want you to imply what Moses will have done.
6:6.
Yes.
His judgment will still be based on what God told him.
Pray for him. Moses was the actual person, even if he had sent, that's where you should have gone. You were saying it, but you didn't say it the way you should have said it. Moses is still in most international organizations, they make the person that sends people to vote. The chairman of that committee, any committee, chairman will not vote. Because the chairman is assumed to be neutral, to be fair. But the chairman knows why he's a chairman. The chairman knows who appointed him. The chairman knows why he's sitting on that seat. He said, "We are talk now. You talk. You talk now." When they vote and they are equal, the chairman will say, "I cast my view." Moses will still have taken decision according to the assignment that was given to Moses. God bless you. Now, in the process of doing that, 2 people give a minority report. 2 people give a majority report. Correct. One of the people that gave the minority report is who? Or one of the people that gave it. Okay, who are the people that gave the minority report? Joshua and Caleb. Is that correct? All this happened in the book of Numbers. Now, where I'm going, this is where Caleb was making reference to. I went backward to all this so that we can have a pedestal. We can have a platform. We can have a foundation so that we will not be talking out of. That's why he said, whereof the Lord spake in that day. Ọlọ́run sọ nígbà wọ̀nyí, ìgbà tí ó ti kọjá, or nígbà wọ̀nyí, ìgbà wọ̀nyí, or something, I don't know. But he knew, give me this mountain. Now, where are we going? We now have a basis and an understanding of what took place so that we can flow with today's lesson very well. The introduction. Till we transit to glory, we are bound to continue to fight the good fight of faith, especially in fulfilling the call of God in our lives. When they say taking territories, I will say, I'm too old to be taking territories. It's a lie. So people will say, I'm too young to be taking territories. It's a lie. So people will say, I don't believe in this slogan, taking territory. You are foolish. Till you die, You will walk towards a purpose to which you were created to. That is what we are saying. So, especially in fulfilling the call of God in our lives, the truth is that the call of God does not expire. Even when we retire. People tell you, I've retired. I'm going to retire last year. Let me tell you, in the real truth of the word of God, you don't retire. Because as far as there is breath in your life, you must continue to do something that must glorify God. We all have some feelings as we grow older. Feelings of pain, feeling of being as unhealthy as we used to be, or weakness, clarity, maybe our vision may not be as bright as it used to be. As you grow older, things change. You have different feelings. You feel, people cannot tell you why they are not coming to this church is that they cannot climb because they are 50 plus. And some people are 70, they still climb as if they are 15. So, we have feelings as we grow older. And we look forward to retiring from our different assignments or jobs. Every one of us. We look forward to it. But the pertinent question is this. What can affect your service to the Lord? Are we going to continue to faithfully serve God in whatever capacity we can, even at the very old age? Then what can stop you from taking over territories? Your faith? Your skills? Your attitude?